Hello, I am Joyce Higgins. I am Chrome Light 2 Life Coach. Today, October the 30th, 2015, I present to you Know Thyself. The objective of the Know Thyself presentation is it is a meditative journaling self-awareness class in which beginners and novice learn, or at least help them learn, how to open up to their pure potentiality so you can truly begin to live a phenomenal life. You will learn today the techniques of reflective journaling as well as how to interpret your writing. Little background information. Those of us who are in the age between 50 and 75 or even 80 years old, we're in our third chapter of life or our third age of fulfillment. This is where we are our most creative beings. We are so in tune to our divine, infinite intelligence that we hear it and we sense it and we become more creative. There's a new saying, or a new saying that I've learned recently, that we become co-creators because we are so in tune. We've passed those stages of life where we're trying to be productive or try to raise families. And so we're most creative at that point. Now, there are 6 principles of second growth because this is considered a second growth. The first step in the second growth, where we are today, is to ask reflective questions of ourselves and our life. This allows us to learn who we actually are. Now, we begin with a little bit more background information. Once we become in that state of meditative state, if you will, asking those particular questions, we utilize different methods. For instance, in the writing, in the journal writing, we become rhythmic, if you will, and this takes us into a state of reflective meditation. Now, the same thing can happen through walking in nature, particularly, and writing, of course, as we talked about before, and drawing. The same mechanism causes us to get into that state of mechanism or that state of meditative processing. Particularly meditative journaling, and we will give a definition of that at this point, is a writing phenomenon that transforms through self-awareness and mindfulness techniques. Okay, at that point, as you're journaling or as you're writing, as I stated before, you become in that meditative state. You're able to gain insight, of course. You have the ability to observe the thinker as in your true self, who is connected to the divine. And you discover in this process, you discover or you have the ability to discover a lot of buried potential. You actually reach your self actualization. Now, you may say, what are the benefits of actually journaling? Well, it provides you with a helpful release of fulfilling intention. It also accesses your intimate or infinite creativity. It enhances your personal transformation, which is very, very important, and we'll talk about that later. It's a place to work out relationships with others. In other words, you're able to purge. Sometimes we have a tendency to get ourselves all discombobulated and move forward and get irate with people. But this format allows you not to do that because sometimes being confrontational might not be the best thing to do. It also shows you your own process at a glance. As I look back through my journaling, and I've been journaling since 1983, which is a long, long time, I've realized I've made some great accomplishments. I've actually become who I was to become, and it says it right in the book. Some people throw their journals away, but I don't believe in that. I believe you should keep them. Now, a little history. The history of journaling. In the beginning, Japanese women, because it was a form of pretty much getting away from their husband, if you will, they would set aside time for themselves to go and write and think about their day and to process their day. So in the 10th century of our universe, the women of Japan began the practice of journal writing. And then by the medieval times, pretty much the medieval pagans, and maybe some people may say that they were witches in England, they began to journal write. And mainly probably because they were writing down the notions and all the ideas that had come to play. But as we learn, most of those medieval pagans were probably writing and noting the esoteric thinking. And of course, in America, on the Mayflower, the Puritans came over from England and they began to journal write. And they said this is a way of looking into the soul and seeing yourself, pretty much witnessing yourself. Now, there are several components or several things to get started. First of all, and we're going to delve deeper into this, there's different types of journaling, different types of journal, different types of formats. There are different devices, there are writing processes, and of course, there's the Socratic questioning or the format of asking questions. Now, as indicated earlier, the types of journals or diaries, if you will, pretty much interchangeable words. There's a traveling journal that most travelers use as they travel or venture on their journey. Then there's the I am journal, and there's just a type of format. The ruling is that you should be able to like what you're looking at when you are journal writing. So you need a nice pen and a nice book that would encourage you to want to write on a regular basis. One of the things it says, find yourself a great journal, one that inspires you to write in it. And, there's new ways, new forms. Of course, you can do it as a blog or on a computer or online or whatever. And I think today's society, young people are using Facebook as their format of journaling. But I like the ideal of having something separate, something that I could hold my hand, something that I could put on my nightstand, if you will. Now, devices, journaling devices. Cathartic, which is emotional, descriptive, free and initiative, and reflective. And today we're going to be concentrating on reflection type of journaling. But it's up to you what you want to write. You make your own choices. We all use different methods of getting to the same destination. So it's totally up to you. But what I am purporting today is reflective journaling, where we are asking ourselves those most important and critical questions. Because in your format, and as we go forward, you will learn this is how you get your answers from your divine, infinite intelligence. Now, the process. Remember, be consistent, write regularly. Maybe do it at the same time of the day. Maybe do it daily. And it takes practice to get there. When I began journal writing in 1983, there were some gaps in my journal writing where I only wrote maybe 3 months out of a year, and then maybe I missed maybe 4 or 5 years, and then I moved forward. And at one point, maybe about 2004, about 11 years ago, I took it serious. I started to journal every day. It became a habit for me. And I realized how great this phenomenon was and how it could help me become who I was going to become. Always be complete. Being complete is critical as well. Don't half step. I know what I've done in making sure someone doesn't review my writing or know what I was talking about. I would write in codes. But when I went to reread what I had written, I didn't know what I had said. And so that wasn't good. Now, vary your entries, which mean at some points you could talk about your good things that are going on. And at some points you might want to just write your goals or things that you want to accomplish. Or you just might want to talk about what happened in a day. I've heard some journal experts say, start from the beginning of your day and end by stating what happened last in your day, or vice versa. Start with what happened at the end and end up with what happened at the beginning. That would be your decision to make. The key thing is be consistent, be complete, and always vary. Now, always be organized, which states to me or indicates to me that one should date it. And I've begun to put times on my journal writing because I want to reflect on what time of the day that my thinking was the way it was. And always, always ask yourself questions. Because as you go forward and when you go back and you reread your journals, you will realize that your questions that you've pondered to yourself will be answered. Yes, they will be answered. Even if you didn't even realize you answered the questions, they will be answered. Another key thing to remember, don't stop. Okay, we talked about reflective questioning early on and how questions give us solutions. What questions give us reasons? And then there's a whole group of Socratic questioning. Socrates made the statement, know thyself. But as I've learned, the Egyptians, tens of thousands of years ago, had on top of their temples to know thyself. Man, know thyself. So this questioning of our human character or who we are has been going on for eons and eons and eons. And it didn't just start with the Greeks. And I'm so excited to be able to say that today because as I learn and journey on my own path, I learn new things as well. And that's what the questioning is all about. The book, The Right Questions, 10 Essential Questions to Guide You to an Extraordinary Life, is written by Debbie Ford. You should be able to find it at most libraries. So check out your library for that book. Okay, we're going to take this pause at this point and ask for you to list 10 positive affirmations about yourself. And then when we come back, after about 10 minutes, we want you to quote those particular 10. But a positive affirmation should start with I am. I am wonderful. I am phenomenal. But it's a present tense sort of affirmation. And in affirmations is a form of purifying or making you ready for your next step because it puts you in a state of believing that things are definitely possible. Now, we're at the next stage, and most of your affirmations were wonderful. I love it. It's fantastic. Great. Uh, I went through a stage where I was not believing in myself and I had to tell myself all these wonderful things. And I literally included that I was sexy. And so I must have felt some kind of ill will or whatever that I needed to say that. But at some points, we have to say certain things to ourselves to make ourselves feel better. And not wait for someone else to believe those things about us because we believe them ourselves. The next phase of the Know Thyself process is writing and reflecting. The process of meditative journaling requires that we, or you as a practitioner, must consistently and regularly write your thoughts and feelings down over a span of time. Remember I said that I started in 1983 and today is 2015 and I'm going full force and I love it. And it gives me that opportunity to help others choose their path. And we have to also remember that there are multiple paths. This is only just one. And being a practitioner means that we have to consistently do something over time to master it. Remember, always ask yourself questions to better understand or to better self-understand. That's critical. Okay, now we're at the point of practice and rereading. And so we have a break in between our sessions Next week's session will include us rereading and interpreting our journals. And the benefit of rereading your journals, you will learn those particulars and the process of rereading your journals, and you will learn an interpretation method. Remember, write. Between our sessions, we have 7 days. So try to write every day because it's going to reflect what we discuss and what you learn about yourself. Okay? Okay, welcome back. We're excited and we're ready to learn new things, and we're ready for you to share your journal writing with us. And, in sharing, you don't have to verbatim tell us all of the things that you wrote, but we will have a process of how we present what we've learned in our own writing. And you don't have to divulge, everything in your writing. But I'm excited about this session because this is where we learn what happens in our writing. So we'll start with the benefits of rereading your journal. Now, there is a list of benefits. It helps you focus your energies and clarifies the presence. It helps you put your ongoing life in context. It gives you a sense of inner movement and continuity of your life. It allows you to compare one period of your life to another. Remember, I said that I started journaling in 1983? I was a babe. To today, it's 2015. I can say I can consider myself as an expert. Okay. It also allows you to see your passage of interchange and growth. And that's what this is all about. Our interchange, our transformation, us becoming who we created to become. The reason why we're here in this existence on this plane, that interchange to help us grow. Connecting to our divine, infinite intelligence, the Holy Spirit, God, whatever name we want to give it. Remember, I said there are many paths that we travel. There are many names that we use to our connection to our intuitive self, our wisdom. But this is what helps us transform, make us realize that we are spiritual beings living in a physical body. Okay, we're ready. Process of rereading. Remember, don't judge. Be open. Someone questioned me, well, you got to question, you got to judge it. Well, don't think of it as bad or good. Just think of it and run with it. And you'll make your decisions as you go. Relax. That's very important. Relax. Also, follow your life's chronological order. Read in volumes. Sometimes it takes you some time, but the best practice is to summarize at the end of your journals, to say what happened through this whole volume. I think over the years I've collected probably about 30 journals, and I have them all. And I go back and I reread them to see where I was in maybe 2002, or to see where I was in November 95 or something like that. So reread your journal. Summarize your entries, and that's what we just mentioned about summarizing at the end or at the beginning of the next one. All right, the interpretation process. We're ready to say what these things mean. Of course, in the teachings, there are word indicators, there are contents of writings, there's observable trends and patterns, and the what have you that we use to interpret our methods. For instance, word indicators say, question, do you label people? Do you call people blondes when you're describing them? Or dumb blondes? Or do you say things about people? In your journal writing, that is. Is the word I constant? I. They tell us when we're saying I, that's a good thing because you're taking responsibility. Are there any slips of the pen or major misspellings? And that's okay, so don't fret, but just be mindful. Do you use words like always, never, stupid, should, or judgmental expression. There's methods or information regarding that as well. Content of writing. Do you reveal your feelings fully or hide them, even from yourself? You remember I told you early on that I wrote in codes, and when I would go back to read it, I didn't realize what I had said? Not good. Do you keep secrets from your journals? Why? What do you keep out? What do you admit? Do you not tell your journal the truth in fear that someone is going to read them and think you're crazy? Well, I just decided that when I die, my journal should go to my cousin and she should write a book and people will know I was crazy. But that's okay because there's some growth in it. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of spiritual information in it as well. So don't omit your secrets. Do you concentrate on the future wishes or past memories? That was another thing that I learned in my journals. That I was concentrating on the same three guys over and over and over. Not good. I wasn't growing in that area. I had grown in other areas, but in that particular area, male-female relationships, I hadn't grown. But it was good that I recognized that to make some change. That's what it's all about. Making change and transforming ourselves. Now, continue with content of writing. Do you record your dreams? Most experts recommend that you leave your journal next to your bed, probably on your nightstand, because you could wake up in the middle of the night with a dream and you want to make sure you capture that dreams. Sometimes if we wait too long, we forget. But dreams are important because they have messages too. Remember, this is when the divine, infinite intelligence, the Holy Spirit, the I Am, can connect with you the most when you're most quiet. So, record your dreams. Do you notice between the dreams and the rest of your journal what's happening? What changes, if any, do you make or wish to make in your next volume? These are very key, important insights to take from your writing. Trends and patterns of behaviors. Are you stuck on a certain problem? Pretty much talked about that with that male-female relationship. That is, does your journal reveal any repetitive emotional reactions that you want to change? Do you see any destructive habits of thinking? Does guilt or shame appear in the journal, in particular captions? These are just patterns, and you're just noting them. You're just recognizing, because you're looking at yourself, remember. You're transforming, and so you need to see who you truly are. Do you record pleasurable moments as well as complaints? What personal strengths do you notice? What do you wish to reinforce? What do you like about yourself? Key things. Very important. Sharing our journals. Now, let's discuss it. Let's talk about it. Okay, we've shared some things and we've learned some things and we've been able to interpret our writings, I should say. And that is a very, very good thing. And I hope we have taken note of those particular interpretations and behaviors and patterns and ideologies of the interpretation, because those are critical things. And I can remember we want to make sure we don't stop doing what we do, but just be aware, be mindful. And I think that's the key thing from where we're going. Now, we're going to the next phase of this, expanding our creativity, because that's in our transformation, in our work, and our practice. That is what we're actually teaching, how to expand and utilize what, I've heard in the past that practitioners or journal writers or individuals who write their thoughts down and their ideas down and understand their feelings and things have been able to create whole books and plays and just multiple things to help us live by. And so it is really, really a good thing. So let's work on that. In order to become creative and self-aware, you must be in touch with your intellectual and emotional process, listening values, and cultivating what comes from within. And remember, what's within is what's good. You have to be patient with your own process. So don't rush it. Listen, take time. Faith in your intuition. That is so critical. It takes us time to surrender to the Holy Spirit or to our divine, infinite intelligence. But my understanding, all your needs is there, all your wants, all the information you need is there. And you have the ability to take from that. So trust it. Have faith in it. Don't think on your own accord. Continue your search of your correspondence and your synthesis. Now, remember, write consistently and completely. Vary your writing. One moment you may have goals that things you're setting. Some things you might have a flower garden that you want to write about. Then you might want to purge. It just depends. Be non-judgmental of yourself and what you have written. Not that you don't want to change those behaviors, but don't get yourself bent out of shape about them. Reread. This is half the benefits. Remember, some people in my past have said to me that they throw their journals out. But they use it as a form of purging. So we're using it a little bit different. We're using it as a form of getting to know who we are. Make the change you want to see. Transform based on what you find. Now, are there any questions? And we'll take a couple of minutes to take Q&A. Very good session. Q&A, that's good, because we had an opportunity to get to know one another. Next thing that's quite important is some links that I found very, very helpful. Number one, 5 powerful reasons to make reflections a daily learning habit and how to do it. That's at www.missiontolearn.com. The next one, how to identify your strengths. Part 1, self-reflection. http://generallythinking.com. The next one and final one, self-reflection, a critical skill for your personal growth and development. www.best-personal-growth-resource.com. Now, additional books. One-to-One Self-Understanding Through Journal Writing. The New Diary, How to Use a Journal for Self-Guidance and Expanding Creativity, which I consider Mrs. Rayner's book to be one of great wisdom, great teaching. So if you get an opportunity, please read her book. Joel Osteen's book, Live Your Best Life Now, 7 Steps to Living Your Full Potential. And of course, Third Age by William Sadler and Third Chapter by Sarah Lawrence Lightfoot. All of these books are great reading. So check them out. Now, if you need to contact me, you can contact me at P.O. Box 478, Cherry Valley, Illinois, 61016. And my email address is JOYCE Higgins, HIGGINS 9 at gmail.com. Or you can visit our website at www.chromelightmagazine.com. And you may call me at 815-877-4711. Thank you so very much for this opportunity. This has been really a great chance to sit and talk and get to know you and to express all the wonderful things I've learned about going within and learning who you are in the Know Thyself process. Have a great day.